The pandemic didn't just change where we work, it shattered the industrial-age machinery of office life. Those fluorescent-lit cubes and soul-crushing commutes now feel as outdated as home machines. Remote work ripped off the bandage, exposing the absurd theater of pointless meetings and performative busyness. Why did we ever accept this? The real shock wasn't just working in pajamas, it was realizing how much of traditional work was pure fiction. What happens when an entire workforce wakes up to that truth? The psychological shift runs deeper than Zoom calls. We're unlearning decades of conditioning, and there's no going back. The hidden psychology behind the exodus. Have you ever felt like your job was just a means to an end? The Great Resignation revealed a collective awakening, not laziness, but post-traumatic growth. After the pandemic, 61% of people reported positive psychological changes, realizing life was too short for unfulfilling work. This shift wasn't abstract. It showed in stories like Sarah's, a corporate lawyer who left her six-figure job to teach environmental law, or Marcus, the finance executive who started a woodworking business. These weren't outliers. They reflected a deeper truth. The pandemic stripped away the illusion that burnout equaled success. For decades, work culture rewarded sacrificing personal time. But lockdowns exposed how much performative work was unnecessary. A 34 million employee study found toxic culture drove resignations 10 times more than low pay. People weren't just seeking better conditions, they rejected hollow routines. Why commute 2 hours for meetings that could be emails? Why accept cultures where exhaustion was a badge of honor? Employers missed this by measuring the wrong things. They focused on salaries while ignoring psychological needs. Dr. Romy Mushtaq, a neurologist, explains, burnout stems from feeling undervalued in systems that prioritize productivity over humanity. Many treated remote work as a temporary inconvenience, not a chance to rethink outdated structures. The data shows this wasn't a phase. In Singapore, over half of workers planned to leave post-pandemic. Nearly a quarter had already moved. What employers called labor shortages were mass rejections of inflexible systems. Disaster psychologist Jamie Otten notes wage complaints were surface level. The real issue was people refusing to trade well-being for paychecks. The Great Resignation revealed a paradox. People didn't just escape bad jobs, they reclaimed agency. Research shows crises trigger existential shifts. The pandemic forced that reckoning globally. Workers left to rebuild lives where work served them, not the other way around. This wasn't temporary. Employers who dismissed it as a phase missed the point. The question wasn't how to lure people back. It was why anyone would want to. The crisis cracked open something permanent. The way we work would never be the same. Why toxic culture drives people away. A marketing director at a Fortune 500 company shared how her PTSD flare-ups were met with, "Maybe you're not cut out for this pace." Another employee was told asking for disability accommodations would hurt her promotability. These aren't isolated incidents. They're what happens when workplaces prioritize output over humanity. Toxic culture isn't about overt harassment alone. It's the daily grind of unrealistic expectations, passive-aggressive feedback, and performative urgency. Dr. Romy Mushtaq calls this the busy brain effect, constant stress rewiring your ability to focus. Gallup's data shows 60% of employees are emotionally detached, not from laziness, but as a psychological response to unsustainable conditions. Compensation barely factors in. MIT and Glassdoor studied 34 million profiles. Toxic culture predicts attrition 10 times better than low pay. Call your workplace a burnout factory? You're 50% more likely to quit within a year. Yet companies still measure engagement through salary surveys, missing the point entirely. Microaggressions amplify the damage. A black engineer was called aggressive for defending his design, while white colleagues were passionate. Latina employees face 32% more interruptions. Asian women get pigeonholed into support roles. Employees facing daily microaggressions disengage 40% faster than those confronting overt discrimination. The pandemic exposed the cracks. Companies botching COVID protocols saw resignation spike. Employees mentioning poor health protections were 67% more likely to leave. While 86% of employers call mental health a priority, only 25% have actual policies. No wonder quiet quitting spread. Disengagement is self-preservation when speaking up risks retaliation. Respect outweighs raises. MIT research shows disrespect drives turnover faster than stagnant wages. A nurse who left during COVID put it bluntly, "They gave us pizza parties while refusing hazard pay. Our lives were cheaper than a $12 pepperoni." These cultures persist because crushing workloads keep people too tired to challenge unfair systems. But the Great Resignation proved this backfires. When Southwest Airlines pilots unionized over scheduling abuses, competitors poached 200+ pilots in months. Replacing them cost more than fair treatment ever would. Toxicity isn't a productivity trade-off. Chronic stress drops performance by 40%. Every hustle culture advocate ignores how often their winners are medicated to function. One Wall Street analyst took Adderall for 80-hour weeks, then crashed with panic attacks. His bonus didn't cover the therapy bills. Outdated structures make it worse. Rigid schedules ignore cognitive energy fluctuations. Mandatory office days assume visibility equals productivity. These policies compound the busy brain effect and prove the 9 to 5 is obsolete. The death of the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5 schedule is an industrial relic. Henry Ford implemented it in 1926 to reduce factory errors, but that logic fails for modern knowledge work. Studies show the average employee spends only 3 focused hours daily, with the rest lost to distractions like checking emails 36 times an hour or sitting through unnecessary meetings. We've kept the factory schedule while abandoning the factory work it was designed for. Think of this rigid system like an antique clock. It keeps ticking, but its gears grind against human cognition. Productive work follows natural rhythms, 52 minutes of concentration, then 17-minute breaks. Yet offices demand continuous presence. A survey found 80% of workers would reject inflexible jobs. The mismatch became undeniable during the pandemic, when remote work revealed how much time was wasted commuting. Nearly a full day weekly just traveling to offices. Cognitive science confirms energy levels fluctuate throughout the day. 25% of people are night owls, yet most workplaces force early starts, punishing those who work differently. Microsoft Japan tested a 4-day workweek and saw productivity jump 40%, while Unilever Australia reported higher satisfaction with no output drop. Yet most employers cling to tradition, measuring work in time rather than results. Commuting highlights the absurdity. The average American spends 55 unpaid minutes daily traveling to offices for meetings that could have been emails. Open plan spaces, touted for collaboration, actually decrease productivity by 15%. The real function was performative work, proving you were busy. Flexibility respects cognitive limits. Chronic stress from rigid schedules impairs focus, with one study showing employees lose 40% of productive capacity under constant time pressure. Another found workers compensate by quiet quitting, doing the bare minimum to avoid burnout. When workplaces ignore natural energy cycles, they get disengagement instead of innovation. The data is clear. Flexible arrangements reduce turnover by 25% and improve mental health. Yet 60% of companies enforce mandatory office days, a sign this isn't about productivity, but control. Industrial-era managers measured hours worked. Information age leaders should measure results achieved. The 9-to-5 forces artificial rhythms on creative work, wastes time on commuting, and punishes those who work differently. Modern problems require fresh thinking, not century-old factory shifts. Next, we'll explore restructuring work around human needs rather than arbitrary clocks. Rewiring your relationship with work. Quiet quitting emerged as a survival strategy when work demands exceed coping capacity. Dr. Romy Mushtaq, a neurologist, describes it as mentally exiting an organization while remaining employed, a response to workplaces that reward overwork until employees break. Take the accounting manager who stopped volunteering for extra projects after watching less qualified colleagues get promoted. She maintained her output, but strictly followed her job description. When her company called this quiet quitting, she called it self-preservation, or the teacher grading papers during family dinners until insomnia set in. Her turning point came when her child asked why she was always somewhere else. Setting a hard 5 p.m. stop revealed her students' performance didn't suffer, but her health improved. The busy brain effect shows why boundaries crumble under stress. Constant urgency keeps the brain in threat mode, with cortisol impairing decision-making. Restructuring starts with work-life integration, not balance. A marketing director renegotiated her schedule to match energy levels. Creative work during peak morning focus. Administrative tasks in slower afternoons. Her productivity jumped 30%. Another employee adopted a job share, splitting responsibilities while keeping full benefits. 3 psychological techniques help reclaim control. 1. Energy audits. Track your focus patterns for a week. One consultant discovered she wasted afternoons on complex analysis when her brain was fried. Switching to mornings solved it. 2. Invisible boundaries. That same consultant automated after-hours email responses without announcement. Complaint rates dropped when clients realized requests still got addressed, just not instantly. 3. Non-negotiables. A parent blocked school pickup times. A night owl reserved mornings for deep work. The pandemic triggered a reckoning, like the nurse who left hospital administration for yoga therapy. Her pay dropped 40%, but chronic migraines vanished. "I thought I needed the salary," she said. "Turns out I needed to not dread every Monday." This isn't rejecting work. It's rejecting work that consumes identity. The solution lies in staying, but on terms that honor your humanity. The real question is how workplaces will adapt when enough people refuse to pretend the old way ever worked. The Great Resignation revealed a deeper search for purpose. As Anthony Klotz observed during the pandemic, it became a time of epiphanies. When stripped of distractions, people rediscovered what truly mattered. Nurses became yoga instructors. Lawyers shifted to nonprofits. These weren't mere job changes, but transformations of identity. Work evolved from just earning money to finding meaning. Employers missed this by focusing on retention over human needs. Now the real question lingers. Where does your work end and your life begin? That boundary isn't just a line, it's the canvas where you'll redefine what matters most. How will you redraw yours? As we close today's conversation, please remember this. Your life's work isn't just what you do, it's what you build inside yourself. At Esoteric Quintessence, we believe that every brave step you take toward meaning over mere survival is a quiet revolution. It's not just about switching careers or chasing titles, it's about honoring the life you were meant to live. Keep asking the hard questions. Keep redrawing your canvas. The world needs the version of you that's led by purpose, not pressure. Until next time, take care, stay true, and trust that every step you take toward yourself is a step toward something extraordinary. With you on the journey, your Esoteric Quintessence team.